Greetings, as we'll be indulging another question from the year 2022. I think this will be the last topic under year 2022 that we are going to indulge. Then we'll be proceeding to year 2023, looking at different sections as far as question number 1 is concerned and question number 2 is concerned in 2023. Then further move in 2024, look at the same question number 1, question number 2. Then after we are done with 2022, 2023, 2024, question number 1, question number 2, we'll proceed back to 2022 to look at question number 3 of 2022, question number 3 of 2023, question number 3 of 2024, so that we address all questions as far as technical maths is concerned. Now we are still in question number 1, and we know by now that question number 1 of technical mathematics is whereby we are required to solve for x. Then in this case 1.1.1, the question says solve for x if we are given, in 1.1.1 we are given 3x bracket x minus 4 close bracket, that is said to be equal to, then mark allocation that we have here is 2 marks here. Now in this case we have 3x in bracket x minus 4, that is equal to 0. Remember the 0 that we have here, it says now these brackets here, what we have here on the left hand side, it is already been factorized for us. Since that is the case, then we apply the non-zero rule. The non-zero rule says to us, take the first bracket as it appears. And now you need to take into account that since well here we have one term which is 3x, there is a bracket there. We call it an imaginary bracket. That is there. There is a bracket here on 3x. That is imaginary. Why don't they put bracket here on 3x? Because it's only one term. Since that is only one term, we don't include bracket, but there is an imaginary bracket that is there. Then non-zero rule, because we have a 0 here. The 0 says these two are already been factorized. Then we don't have to apply the FOIL or multiply out the bracket. We take the first bracket as it appears here. In this case, the first bracket that we have there, it is positive 3x. Then we don't waste any time. We equate that, the first bracket, we equate it to 0 here. Now, remember the objective is to look for x. The 3 must die here. Remember we have 3x, it means these two are multiplying. To get rid of the 3 so that we are left with only an x, we are going to divide here by a 3 that is positive. Also divide here by a 3 that is positive. Then this 3 is going to cancel with this 3. Then on this side we are only left with variable x. Then we put that forward to say x is equal to, then 0 divided by any number, it remains the 0. It means the first solution of x, it will be x that is equal to 0. Then we put an OR. Why? We are going back here to check what do we have as the second bracket here. We see as the second bracket we have this. Then we are going to write that down to say in the second bracket we have x, variable x, minus a 4. That is said to be equal to, we set it to be equal to 0. Remember we are applying what is called a non-zero rule. Now we have an x here without any coefficient and we are set to go. Then how do we then solve for x here? The first objective that we are going to undertake is to transpose negative 4 to the side so that we make x the subject of the formula. Then we are going to take negative 4 to this side. Doing that, we will be left with variable x on the left hand side. That is said to be equal. So remember, if this is a negative number, when you take it to this side of the equation, it can't carry the same sign. If you transpose a number to the other side of the equation, the sign needs to what? Change. Since well it's a negative 4, when you take it to the side, the sign, it will be a positive 4. Then this will be another solution of what? Of x. Then how many solutions do we have here? We have 2 solutions. X equals to 0 and x equals to positive 4. Mark allocation, 2 marks. First mark will be x is equal to 0. The second mark will be x equals to positive 4. That is 1.1.1. Then we head straight to 1.1.2. In 1.1.2, we have negative 2x minus 10. That is said to be equal to 3x squared. Then we have a note here. We have a note to say correct to 1 decimal places. Remember, in solve for x question, if you have this note, the note says whatever equation that we have here, it cannot be solved using factorization. The only way to solve for the 2 distinctive values of x, we must apply only quadratic formula. I will repeat. If you are having this note to say correct to 1 decimal places, correct to 2 decimal places, this is an indication that the quadratic equation that we have here, it cannot be solved using factorization, but yet we can apply the usage of quadratic formula. Now, in this case, we are given a quadratic equation. Then the first step that we need to undertake is to make sure that we have the quadratic equation in the form of a x squared plus bx plus c, that is said to be equal to 0. This quadratic equation, this quadratic standard form of a quadratic equation, it's an indication to say the term with the square, it must start first. Now we need to go there and check the term with the square. Remember, every term, it must be on the left hand side of the equation. Then the term with the square, here we have it, but we have it where? On the right hand side of the equation. We need to take it to the left hand side of that equation so that we have the term with the square first. Then when we transpose this term with the square from the right hand side to the left hand side, it can't carry the same sign, which is positive in this regard. It must change the sign. When we take it to this side, it means the sign will be negative 3x negative 3 x squared. Now, the second term is the term with an x. Remember, already on this side we had that term with an x. Here it is. We don't change the sign. It was already on that side. Remember what I said to you. As we are writing this equation in the standard form, all the terms must be on the left hand side. And already on the left hand side we had 2 terms already. The only term that we brought to the left hand side, it was the term with the square. Other terms were already on that side. Therefore, every sign those terms have, they remain intact. They remain unchanged. Then the term with an x, it remained the same as negative 2x because it was already on the left hand side of our equation. Then it says c plus c. C is the constant number without an x. In this case, the constant, the number without a variable x, here it is. It remains the same, which is negative 10. That is equal to 0. Then you will be awarded 1 mark for standard form of a quadratic. Now, we have a quadratic equation in the standard form. We apply the quadratic formula, which says x is equal to negative b plus and minus square root of b squared minus 4 AC, everything else divided by 2a. Then what will be the value of b? Here is the value of b. Here is the value of b and its respective sign. Here is the value of a and its respective sign. and here is the value of c and its respective sign. Now, if you have written, before you solve the quadratic equation, before you solve it, if you have written ax squared plus bx plus c, that is equal to 0, you will be able just to narrow down the value of a, narrow down the value of b, narrow down the value of what? Of c. Now from there, since well we have those values, we can just substitute x, it will be equal to negative that came with the formula. Here is the value of b. Remember, we substitute the value of b and its respective sign. Since well it has a negative sign, we have to include the bracket. Negative 2, close bracket, plus and minus. The square root. Then under the square root it says first substitute the value of b and also put a square. The same value of b that we have here, we are going to write it again inside the square root here with the brackets to say open bracket, negative 2, close bracket, we put a square, minus 4, open bracket, substitute the value of what? Of a. Here is the value of a that we have here, is negative 3. Let me write that correctly so that everything is clear here. Open bracket, the value of a is negative 3, close bracket, open bracket. Let us extend our square root. Then the value of c, here we have it with its respective sign, is negative 10. Then everything else divided by 2 multiplied by the value of a. In this case, the value of a, open bracket, negative 3, close bracket. Then now x, it will be equal to, or x, it will be equal to. Now we apply our calculators. We press everything that we see here in our calculators. Negative in bracket, negative 2. Remember, we put a plus first, square root, negative 2 squared, minus 4, open bracket, negative 3, close bracket, open bracket, negative 10, close bracket. Everything else divided by negative 2 multiplied by negative 3. Let's see. Negative 2 plus negative 2 squared minus 4, negative 3, negative 10, close bracket here, then negative 3, then when we press that into our calculators, what do we have? We have no solution. No solution because it gives us an error. No solution. We write no solution because we have an error. It gives us an error. It means no solution of x. No solution. But we put a but here. But see now. But those who are in grade 12, particularly for one doing technical mathematics, we understand that error is an indication that the solutions of x will be complex number. Now what needs to happen? We need to find the values. We need to punch what we have here. without the square root to find the solution of what we have under the square root. Now we go further to say x is equal to the negative multiplied by negative here. Negative multiplied by negative, we have positive 2 plus and minus the square root. Then we put everything that we have under the root there, negative 2 squared, negative 2 squared, minus 4, open bracket, negative 3, open bracket, negative 10, close bracket. Now we have negative 116 divide by, then 2 multiplied by negative 3, we have negative what? 6 here. Why are we having an error? Because under the root here, we have a negative number. Now we go to term 1 work that we have done in grade 12 that talks to complex numbers. We are going to simplify this using the concept of complex number to say x is equal to positive 2 plus and minus the square root of negative 1 multiply by the square root of 116, all divided by negative 6. Let me go down. Now we go further to say x is equal to 2 plus and minus. We know from the concept of complex number here in term 1 that we have done is that the square root of negative 1 results to I. Then square root of negative 1 is an I multiply. Then square root of 116, it results to 2 square root of 29 divide by negative 6. Now we go further to say x is equal to 2 plus and minus. Then 2 square root of 29 multiplied by I, it results to 2 square root of 29 I, all divided by negative 6. Now first we choose a plus here. We divide everything here by negative 6. 2 divided by negative 6 and this part divided by negative 6, but we put a plus first. Then we are going to say x is equal to 2 divided by negative 6, then plus 2 square root of 29 I divided by negative 6. Then first solution of x it will be equal to, then when you punch this into your calculator you get negative 1 all over 3. Then positive divided by negative, we have negative, let's see, 2 square root of 29 divided by 6, it will be square root of 29 divided by 3. Yes, we have square root of 29 divided by 3I. Then this is the solution of x in a complex number form. In a complex number form. Then since well we had a plus here, we are going back to substitute what a minus to say or x is equal to 2 divided by negative 6 minus 2 square root of 29 divided by negative 6 I. Then x is equal to negative 1 over 3. Then negative divided by negative, we have a plus 29 divided by 3 I. Square root of 29. Square root of 29. Here we must have a square root. Square root of 29 divided by 3i. That is another solution of what? Of x. Why do we have no solution here? Is those who are doing technical mathematics, grade 11, but those who are in grade 12, you can't write no solution here. Why? Because you have done complex numbers in term 1. Then what needs to happen here? You need to punch what you have here inside the square root to find the number that is negative there. Then you apply the application of complex number that we have done in term 1 to find the value of x in the form of x is equal to a plus bi, which is the standard form of a complex number.